Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the channel with Antigonus Gaming. We are back with Metroid Prime Remaster on Nintendo Switch. Metroid Prime Remaster is property of Nintendo. In the last video, we got the Plasma Beam and a number of other upgrades, including the Power Bomb. I redeemed myself after the humiliation of getting a game over just as the Power Bomb was in reach, mostly owing to the fact that I missed an energy tank in the Chozo Ruins. So I was down 100 HP that I should have had. We're taking a quick detour to the Phendrana Drifts, because if you recall, there was an energy tank behind some ice, and there are some upgrades in the Phendrana's Edge region, that we can get. There's a missile expansion in the gravity chamber. There's, and now that we've got the plasma beam, we can just vaporize these pirates, so we got so really makes the game a lot easier. Now, of course, the doors here are the wave beam doors from before, so we're gonna have to use that while we're traveling through. This is not the one I want. We are in the Hunter Cave. Interestingly enough, does not have Hunter Metroids in it. Big part of this game is backtracking to old areas to find new stuff. The big news in gaming this week was, or today, was the supposed Chrono Trigger remake that was allegedly announced, and then it turned out it was all just a translation mistake. So basically there was a Comic-Con in Italy, and that one of the main guys who developed Chrono Trigger, which was kind of done by a dream team of the 90s era RPG people. It was Yuji Horii, I think is his name, who's the guy who's behind Dragon Quest, which is, you know, kind of a more traditional RPG franchise, very popular in Japan, but not as popular in the outside of Japan. Akira Toriyama, who was the mastermind behind Dragon Ball until he passed away, and then Sakaguchi, who was the guy who created Final Fantasy, and there was one other guy, I can't remember his name. Well, the guy behind Dragon Quest was doing like a Q&A session, and he made a comment that according to the company that reported it, they said that actually the translator misinterpreted it as him saying there would be a Chrono Trigger remake, and then they said later that it wasn't it. And the reason it was interpreted that way was because the guy who allegedly said it, he like covered his mouth and allegedly said you heard nothing or something like that. So, like, the way he put it was it made it sound like he accidentally let spill what his next project is, but it probably was just an overreaction in the moment, and people didn't, Chrono Trigger is really like the gold standard of that era of RPG, and it really does, the story's great. It's one of the, and it's probably, with writing, like the best time travel RPG ever made. But there's a whole lot of problems because there were so many different parties that came together to work on it. There's like ownership issues with like who, getting permission from, you got to get permission from so many different people to redo it, and it's just kind of a chaotic. It's been a chaotic situation. They've gotten permission in the past to do remasters and expansions, but never an actual full rebuild of the game, whether that be in 3D or just in a modern high definition 2D, which just looks better than the old 2D from the 90s. So a lot of people were like freaking out about that. So it'll be interesting to see them all make videos tonight or tomorrow when they're just like sad because it turned out that the story was fake. Now it's also possible that that's just what they're saying now because they don't want to get people's hopes up. Because this is the kind of game where, like, if they did ever confirm it, and then it didn't get made, it would anger so many people. Like, Square Enix has really, really lost a lot of credibility over the years. And they've gotten some of it back by making some good projects. Alright, so I blast open a wall. I could see a door with the X-ray visor. It opens up a wall with a plasma beam door. So I could not have gotten this earlier, because I needed the power bomb to blast off the wall. This is the artifact of the spirit, the 11th of 12. We can actually probably grab the artifact in the pirate lab as well. That's the last thing we need to get there. There's one of those things that, like, those, like, glider manta ray things that I can grab onto with my grapple beam here at the very top of the Phendrana's edge, which I could only get to with the grapple beam. And then there's a Morphball tunnel. It takes us to a little small room, and we get another power bomb expansion. So now we're up to, I think, 7 total power bombs we can hold. We got one more to get, and it's in the mines. Which, for story purposes, that's the next place we need to go. But then what we need to, once we complete the mines, if we don't have all the artifacts, we just need to backtrack through all these other areas, and I'd rather do that as little as possible. There's one artifact left in the Elder Hall, in the Chozo ruins. Where you have the different slots that you can activate with the different beams. There's a plasma beam one, and that one will open up a way to get an artifact. And that's just there, so like you can't just, unless you're gonna use like let's see, there's a missile expansion under the ice. We get it. Pretty sure that there should be a hole in the ice somewhere. Look this up. Okay. So there's a glider, one of those manta ray things, that I have to grab onto. That will let me go up to the cliff where I can aim at the highest. There's like a cliff over here that doesn't go anywhere, but it lets me go high enough into the cave that there's a stalactite, one of those big rocks we can hit with a missile. It knocks it down way up at the top. You can't hit it from anywhere else. And it falls into the ice and it shatters the ice. And there's a missile expansion underneath the frozen area. So that was... There we go. I had forgotten about that. Fortunately, the ability to just look stuff up is so convenient in some of these older games. Missile expansion, so we're 5 more missiles. Now we're up to 190. I think we may have gotten every missile expansion other than the ones in the mines. Because we haven't even gone into the bottom of them. There's a lot of stuff down there. Alright, so now we're going back out, but we're actually going to go through that research entrance that takes us into the back end of the pirate lab. Because we're gonna take out their lab on our way out. Oh, and the other thing about the plasma beam is it sets enemies on fire, so they'll also steadily take damage. So it's a really powerful weapon. So you hear the change in music. It's also dark now, so we're gonna have to... So this area had base pirates in it. Now it's just got security turrets, and then the Metroids are still here. So we could take them out easily enough with a blast of the ice beam and a missile. We got the thermal visor on because, you know, the lights turned off in the pirate lab. Never turned back on. Fortunately, we don't have to turn all the doors and stuff back. Even the security drones just melts away when you use the plasma beam. And the plasma beam is so hot, it's just like bright. When you charge it up, it's like bright. Almost like, it looks like you're staring into the sun. It's that bright. I mean, the attack power on this weapon is ridiculous. That's why it's the last weapon. It just vaporizes enemies. There's no... You know, they just disappear. Now, they still can't kill any... It still can't kill anything, though, that's only weak to certain weapons. So, like, the electronic bombing guys that are only weak to electric, or the Chozo ghosts that can only be hit by power beam, or the various pirate soldiers that are only weak to their own attack type. But basically everything else, it's your optimal weapon. So now we're back outside on the top of the tower. We quickly get ambushed by some flying pirates. Two initially, and then two more will show up. And what you have to do here is that when you climb up, there's like two elevator towers, and then there's like a big rectangular area in the middle, right? Well, before we couldn't really do anything else besides just fight the pirates and keep going. But now that we have more weapons, we could actually blast some ice that was in a window out of the way. And then we're staring across at a large tower, and there's a large fuel cell attached to the base of the tower. Energy readings detect rapid fluctuations in power levels. The radion-based outer casing of the structure appears damaged. I just destroyed this with a regular missile. Yep. And it blows up, and the huge tower that overlooks even the, like, observation deck that I was on falls over. And then there's like it blows a little gap in the floor, big enough for the morph ball to go through. The morph ball then can roll then into the now ruined tower, and within it there is a artifact had fallen out of it into like this little area. The artifact of Elder, the third of the 12. So, and then we can use the morph ball to just roll along through the tower again, and now we're on our way out of here. So we've now cleared out the pirate lab. So we're gonna have to go back to the thermal visor, unfortunately. I don't really like the non-combat visors, just the fact that there's so few colors. I mean, it makes it kind of hard to describe. Like, everything's just like purple and red and yellow. Thermal visor, because it's all heat signature based. I mean, and at this point, I'm just like, okay, just get me out of here. You know. And with the pirates, when you blast them, when you're in the thermal, they just disappear. Thanks for playing, Space Pirates. we're almost out of here. So we are out of the pirate lab. And now we're actually going to head back to the elevator we came up, but through the room where we fought Thardus, because there is one more upgrade in there. So if we go back to the entryway, or the exit that we took to get out of here after we killed Thardus, there's a spider ball track that will take us over there, because like that was the upgrade that Thardus dropped. And then you can either go straight through the door, or you can look to the left, and there are now, a giant She-Goth is in here, one of the adult ones. However, it dies very quickly to the plasma. That's the thing, is like the later weapons just kind of really invalidate a lot of the early game bosses that turn into just regular strong enemies, like the adult She-Goth and the plated beetle and things like that. I mean, like, those are meant to seem like really tough enemies early on, but they're really only tough because you don't have any weapons to fight them with. You have to fight them with the basic standard stuff with not a lot of health. So, alright, there's a missile expansion in here. So I guess I was wrong. There was one more that wasn't in the mines. So the final area, the final route, the second visit to the mines is the hardest part of the game, and that's why I'm stocking up with everything I can get now. It's the hardest place, it's the hardest part of the game. And the amount of Phazon you have to fight your way through when you're down there is crazy. Oh, I just went through the wrong place. I just went back the way I came. Oh, actually, I'm going to save, because I just got a bunch of stuff. There's a save point behind this elevator. Yeah. So, leaks are already coming out about the next Nintendo Direct, even though the Switch 2 isn't even out yet. People are already starting to talk about, like, how many games are left. I mean, sounds like, based on leakers, that they think there might be 2 more big releases for Nintendo Switch that well, presumably also has Switch 2 versions. The two big Nintendo Switch games of that for this year are Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon Legends CA, and both of those will have Nintendo Switch 2 versions. So we don't really know, though, because they're just leaks. Until you get official confirmation, you don't know. And I mean, even if, like, as we saw today with Chrono Trigger, like, literally the guy who people were citing as the source for a game that doesn't exist is the guy who made the original, and thus would have a massive role in creating any kind of a remake. And even he was like, oh, I was misinterpreted, that wasn't what I said. Alright, so this elevator will take us down to the Phazon Mines West. This is actually kind of a goofy spot to come into the mines, but it does shortcut you past a big chunk of it. So like we're grappling across a hallway where there's literally just all Phazon. Like, we would die if we fell into that. Now we're into the large Phazon processing room. There's all kind of pirates in here. Specific spot that I want to... I think this is it. Alright, so there's a missile expansion that you have to go through a whole, like, spider ball track thing to get to, but if you just come in from that upper area like we did, and we just dropped down and landed on the right thing. Alright, this is the wave buster. It's like a flamethrower, but it's electricity, essentially. Got plasma troopers here. So these are the same thing as all the others, but they're like bright red. Just the fact that there's creepy ambiance. This room is huge. Massive, massive room. Very tall. It's like a weird... Got like an angled wall on one side and a straight wall on the others. There's Phazon in the bottom, a lot of it. If the pirates fall in, I think they die. Because it's poisonous to them, too. It's all kind of spider ball tracks and other things, platforms to hop on. It's a massive room. We can see that this is really the kind of the start of the heart of the pirates' operation here. This is the maintenance tunnel, which will take us up to the next level of the mines. This takes us up to we'll do the top part of the mines, though, at the end. I don't necessarily see the value in... Wait, actually... Oh, no, actually... I have... Oh, no, yeah, no. We're gonna go back. Okay, we gotta go back up because the way down... It's actually through a different area. So the Phazon processing room is where we'll come out at after we complete the whole final lowest level of the mines, will come out at the Phazon processing. So first we're gonna head to the central dynamo, which is where we got the that's where we got the power bomb. We're in one of the research labs where we fought some of those giant mutant space pirates. And we'll save in there, which will restore our health and all that. And then another one of those research labs. We can just hop on down. And as we walk through this little thing, a giant one of those pirates pops out. But we're just gonna have to kill it with super missiles. This one looks the same as all the others. Got the armor. Use it with me. It's huge. It's doing shockwave thing. Super missiles takes it right out. One pops out of his head as it falls to the ground. The blood's green, which is creepy. But I think the space pirates have green blood. That's part of it. We got 4 ice troopers. We're gonna want to take them out before we save, since they won't come back after just 4. So enemies restore when you leave, when you go through 2 consecutive rooms, right? So if I leave this room and go to the save room, they will not come back. If I left this room, go to the next room, then go to another room, then come back, they'll regenerate. So there's no reason for me to not fight them, save, and then come back and take more damage when I could kill them, take some damage, it doesn't matter, and then just heal all the health back. But yeah, people are already talking about the June Direct. They're saying there could be another good game released. I mean, I think a lot of people are just kind of like, it's just a holding pattern like we've talked about. People are kind of like antsy. I know the 3D Mario people are really, really antsy just because they usually have that in the first couple months of any new Nintendo system, and this time they didn't. Because they were going with Donkey Kong, and then, which is a Nintendo adjacent franchise. Donkey Kong is the other major character that comes out of the original Nintendo game. One super missile takes him out. There's 4 turrets there. That was actually nice work. Alright, so we're walking through this hallway here. There was like a little tunnel we could have gone in our morph ball, but really, reality, the best option is to just use a super missile. Now we're in Metroid Quarantine A, and we see that there's space pirates kind of manning it. There's a force field, and you've got a bunch of Metroids behind the force field. So there's a red computer we can scan. It says force field disengaged. Metroid containment is breached. The force field disappears, and the first thing that happens is the Metroids attack the space pirates and kill them. And then a space pirate ambushes us. So, And you look out, and there's a unique Phazon reading analyzed. High level of Phazon found in mobile source. And it goes down to elite quarters. And remember, we read a pirate data saying they were breeding some sort of elite pirate, so it's probably where we want to be. And then if we turn on the X-ray visor, we can see invisible platforms that we can hop across to get across this. And that's there to prevent you from trying to come down here too early. I imagine people that know everything or were operating off a guide have done that. There's Phazon everywhere, so we can't just, you know, go wherever we want. But, more invisible platforms for us. When you hear that, like, hissing noise, it means we're stuck in the Phazon, so we're taking damage here. We hop across an invisible platform, and then there's a spider ball track that we can get on, or we can start using power bombs to blow up this wall to the left. And then we go through a gap in the wall, and there's another wall we can blow up. And then that takes us to a spider ball track that goes across the big Phazon chasm that we just crossed, which takes us to a little platform we can stand on that we couldn't get anywhere else, and there's an invisible platform coming up and down. We can use the X-ray visor to see it. And it takes us up to a ledge that's too high to get to any other way. With another missile expansion. There's a lot of that stuff down here. And the Phazon will drain your HP fast. Alright. Elevator access B. So we're gonna... And now the doors are plasma beam doors. That's the other way they stop you from going down. Is even if you have a guide, if you don't have the plasma beam, you can't go down. So now we're in the same little, like, elevators for level 3. We're going down even deeper. Far, far deeper into the crater. Now to the point where we can't even see the crater anymore. We just see Phazon in the rock. So they've dug deep. We're now in the fungal hall axis, which is like a circular room that it's like 2 levels high. Gonna take some damage here because there's a missile expansion underneath a mushroom, and I don't feel like coming back for it later. So, because we're not actually coming back out the way we came in. Now we're in the fungal hall. There's Hunter Metroids. This one just dropped a 100 HP restore, so that... So yeah, we're not really sure exactly, and yeah, we're not really sure what's going to be in this direct. I imagine more Donkey Kong coverage, probably more stuff about Metroid. The other big news in gaming is that Grand Theft Auto, which is super popular, got delayed again, so it's delayed all the way into 2026. So a lot of other companies are really afraid to put their games up against Grand Theft Auto, because I mean, you see it all the time where a game comes out and then another game comes out that's of like a massive franchise, and then that smaller game just nobody pays attention to. Like the Advance Wars remake is I mean, there were a lot of reasons why that game failed, but it was delayed twice by over a year and a half, and there were a lot of things that like the Advance Wars fans didn't like about it, so there were a lot of traditional Advance Wars fans, of those who were left, that didn't buy it. It came out like 2 weeks before Tears of the Kingdom. So there were actually a decent number of people who picked it up as the freebie with the Nintendo voucher system, but never played it. So now we're in the Phazon mining tunnel, which is a morph ball room. And we walk into this tunnel, and there's a big like Phazon thing we can go through, but the thing is we can't survive in Phazon, so we're gonna have to go across this platform that disappears, and then we go down, and then we can go down further into Phazon, which will take us into a game over, or we can just not and keep going deeper. So this is Fungal Hall B. So like there's huge mushrooms everywhere, and they're all like this creepy blue color. We're so deep into the mines now that the lights don't work. So we have to use the thermal visor to see where we're going, and there's Metroids everywhere. Oh, that's a giant mess. We're gonna have to hop through Phazon, and we see that there's a bunch of small mushrooms together, and we see a missile expansion underneath them. We can use a power bomb to blow that floor open, and that gives us another missile expansion, which puts us up to 215 now. So we've only got 7 more left to get. I may have missed a couple. I think there's only like 2 more down in this part of the mine, but I'm not sure. Yeah, there's only a couple more rooms left, so I definitely missed a couple. The last energy tank is after the end of this segment. It's like kind of a prize for getting to the end of the mines. But I think there's... Oh, I think I know where a couple of them are. A couple of them are in the Talon Overworld. I believe there's 2 of them in Root Cave. Alright, now we're into a missile station, so we'll take that, because we're down by missiles or so. So we'll restore back up. There actually is light in this room. But then we go back out and there's no longer light. I just fell off. Back to the start, hopping around all the Phazons and not getting hurt. So there is a save station before the very end where the before the end of what we're going to. Unfortunately, we'll be able to heal. Got one of those like glider things where you grab onto it and hop across onto one of these huge blue mushrooms. They're massive. They look red because we've got the thermal visor on because they're living creatures, so they have heat. The door looks purple in the thermal visor, but it's not actually purple. Got the invisible Bamus that we have to use our X-ray visor to see as we're hopping across mushrooms over Phazon. This is the Quarantine Axis B. Now we're in the Metroid Quarantine B. We've got plasma troopers here. I know there's a missile expansion in here that we can get with our super. So in this room, we come in. There's a large Phazon pit in the middle. We're on a platform right by the entrance, like a walkway area. And this room is fairly large, so each of these areas are fairly large. There's space pirates on the far side of the Phazon platform shooting at us. They're all plasma troopers. Those specialty troopers in the black and red armor. So we have to use like a spider ball track thing where we go up one and then drop off one. And then we have to double jump to one platform that overlooks the big Phazon pit. And then there's a grappling hook thing hanging off a pipe top that will let us swing fully across. And then we can scan a computer thing that opens up the gate, and that will take us into the back end, which is like the place with all the computers and stuff. Then randomly, after fighting all the plasma troopers, there's just wave troopers. There's a couple of wave troopers here, just to mix things up to screw. I'm gonna head up here to make sure there's not like a third wave trooper lying in wait. No. There is a Cordite shaft that I can blow up with a super missile. That'll give me another missile expansion. Now I can go into the save station. Yeah, so we don't really know what it is. I think a lot of people are expecting a lot more third-party showcases. It's just that, like, there's rumors that a lot of third-party developers have said that, like, they're ready to announce on Nintendo, but Nintendo has a really strict, like, calendar. I think they really want to, like, roll these games out over the course of the first year. So, like, obviously, if they release them all right away, that would be great. But not everybody can afford to buy a Switch 2 right away. Like, some people... Like, I'm not buying a Switch 2. I'm using credit card points to buy mine. A new pirate data entry has been downloaded in your logbook. Space pirate encrypted data decoded. Log 113694. As we continue to observe the development of Project Helix's elite pirates, it becomes increasingly obvious that these warriors will usher in a new era of space pirate dominance. They are incredibly resistant to damage, and their ability to transport and wield so many weapons at once makes them the ideal mainstays of our ground forces. Though they are not as quick as typical pirates, it makes little difference. With a platoon of elite pirates in the vanguard of an army of normal and flying pirates, we will have a near indestructible backbone that should turn the tide in any engagement. Omega Pirate absorption system test results are in. Field tests indicate that the system is very effective against beam weaponry. We are alarmed at the field's inability to handle missile attacks, however. The science team is working around the clock to correct this critical design flaw. The Omega Pirate cannot afford such a weakness in battle. Data suggests Omega Pirate lifespans are critically low. High levels of Phazon exposure are causing rapid cell degeneration in all test subjects. No subjects live longer than 2 decacycles in our simulation. Their lifespans must be increased to be cost-effective. I mean, you're injecting them with a radioactive mutagen. It's natural that it would cause the lifespan to shrink. Phazon processing efficiency at maximum production is 187%. Health alert, Phazon radiation warning. Do not enter a Phazon processing area without level 8 radiation gear. Prolonged exposure is 100% fatal. So now we're heading into the elite quarters access, which is just another hallway. Plasma trooper that comes down. And then we've got like a bunch of bars in the way, but there's like a frozen thing that we can thaw out. As we thaw it out, that opens up the door. And as we walk in, so this is the boss room. It just clearly looks like a boss room, right? So it's this huge room with only 2 doors, one that we walk in, one in the back on the upper level, behind the giant tank in the middle that has a boss that is right under a massive Phazon crystal that's hanging from the ceiling. There's clearly like pools of Phazon in the ground for the boss to use. So we're gonna scan it, and there's a giant space pirate in there.
Recording to logbook.
Morphology, Omega Pirate, most powerful of the elite pirate forces. Omega Pirate can become invisible to normal sight. It is vulnerable when cloaked, as all energy is drawn from the defense systems. By exposing itself to Phazon, it can regenerate damaged tissue and organs. Considered the pinnacle of the elite pirate program, this enemy should be handled with extreme caution and maximum firepower. So we're gonna walk closer. Now that we've scanned it, and it's like in a huge tank that has all these other tanks attached to it, using it with Phazon. It's got huge armor, its eyes are like glowing red. It's, you know, whereas Samus is probably like 6 feet tall, this thing is like 18 feet tall. Huge, it has huge blue Phazon leg and shoulder armor. Its hands are blue. Two Phazon charge beam attacks will take out, but it can still absorb Samus's beam weapons just like the regular elite pirates. But when she uses missiles, nope. So super missiles are the weapon of choice here, because one super missile is enough to take out each piece of armor. It's got 2 cannons on its back instead of 1. And there's these Phazon pools all throughout the... So it will disappear, and then it calls for help. So let's see, who's showing up? Perfect power curve. I can take him out easily enough. And then it disappears, so I have to use the X-ray visor, and it will start healing itself in the Phazon. So I have to find it. Okay, and then it starts, you see it like absorbing energy and slowly getting its armor up. And you hear it laughing. But all you see is like white out, like X-ray outlines. Alright, now it's back. So, and now it's summoned more enemies. This time plasma troopers and power troopers, and it's coming after us too. But the enemies do drop stuff, so like, and it's down to low health. This boss is actually, I haven't beaten this boss on hard. This boss is ridiculous. It's the definition of a stress test because of all the because the enemies are all buffed and hard. But in normal mode, it's pretty standard. Because super missiles are so effective and the regular enemies don't really do that much damage to you, it's a fairly easy fight. Now, he just punched me and that did like 100 damage. So like, if you get close to him, you're screwed. Blasted all his armor, the Phazon armor away, so he calls for help again. He's gonna show up this time. See him disappear, and you see his actual, like, interior organs are, like, blue. There's a Phazon. Where are you at? Where are you at, bro? Okay, I'm being shot at by the space pirates, but it's okay. I got so much health. He's so weak. Alright. He's now down to almost no health. I hit him and he goes limp. His eyes aren't glowing. She's just walking towards Samus, and he just like falls into her on top of her. And he's got so much Phazon in his body just dissolves into this gooey liquid Phazon all over Samus. So she's absorbing all this Phazon, and as she stands up, her suit changes into a black, silver, and red suit. Her visor is red. The Phazon suit acquired. Your suit has been infused with pure Phazon. This corruption prevents damage from Phazon. So, like, if I walk into the Phazon now, it doesn't do any damage to her. So, when I zoom in, the inner armor is, like, silver. She's got red lines on her shoulders, her breastplate, her boots, her knees, thighs, etc. The outer armor on her like legs and shoulders and arms and is black. Her helmet is the silver, just like the chest, the torso plate, and then her visor is like reddish orange. So this is, I think, I played all 3 Metroid Prime games. I think this is her best looking suit. But there's a little elevator that we can get that takes us up to the top. The second level where we're gonna like walk above where the Omega Pirates little tank was. And then we're actually gonna turn back. Tank acquired. So now we're actually right next to the Phazon Processing Center. We're not actually gonna go through there because there's an artifact down here at the bottom of the mine. And that Phazon mining tunnel. Let's see, actually, yeah, what's the fastest way to get to that? Probably just going back the way I came. So I have the Phazon suit now, so like hopping through Phazon is not a big deal. No, there's Metroids around. There's a lot more Metroids around now instead of the pirates. Might be a different Metroid. Yep, they are. Fission Metroids. Metroid with the ability to split into 2 forms. The Fission Metroid is a mutant capable of splitting in 2. The split endows the new creatures with invulnerability. Most weaponry. This effect is unstable, resulting in a weakness to a type of weapon fire. The vulnerability appears to be random due to the chaotic. So, like, they're different colors. And depending on what color the, like, membrane on the Metroid brain is, that determines what it's weak to. So we can actually see it there for a minute. So now we're in that Metroid, that Phazon mining tunnel again. And we're down in the Phazon now, and we can actually go through it because we have the Phazon suit. And when she's in her morph ball, it's black, and then the like energy part's red. Chozo artifact acquired. Artifact of Newborn, the last of the 12. So we got 3 more left. There's 1 more in the mines. No, there's one more that shows up ruins. Oh, and there's one in Phendrana, in the Ice Temple. That's right. There's that, like, frozen statue we can thaw it out, and there's a little hidden room. Yep, that makes sense. Metroids. More Metroids. Please don't bother me. Oh, corrupted Metroids. I'm sorry for what the pirates did to you, or by exposing everything. Nothing I can do. Or you can leave me alone. This is a chance to show off the ice spreader, which is just like a huge explosion of ice, and it leaves some ice on the ground, actually. So much firepower. That's like the super missile. It's just 5 missiles. Or no, actually, this is more powerful. The super missile uses 10 missiles. So there's a couple more things that we didn't get up towards the top of the mines. That last pirate that was in a tank, like way at the top, we can bust that guy out and defeat him with a power bomb. That'll drop an artifact. There's the flamethrower, which is the missile upgrade for the plasma beam. And there's another upgrade behind like a wall we can blow open with a power bomb. After we get all those, I'll check into where the missing missile expansions are. Since the ending is actually determined by how much you complete. You get 100% of pickups and 100% of your logbook. You get an extended ending sequence that teases the sequel. So, walk back through the hallway. See the pirate's gone. Defeated it. back up to the first level of the mines. But yeah, I'd expect a lot of third-party stuff. More Donkey Kong, more Metroid Prime 4. And they'll probably show off one new big game. That's typically their model. They usually have 3 big things to show off. Usually at least one of them is like something we've already seen before. And then 1 or 2 of them, and then there's always like one brand new thing. Like otherwise, what's the point in tuning in? Usually for the stuff that you're not expecting as much, they make it really clear that like this is a partner showcase or an indie showcase or a mini direct where it's like, okay, you know, I'm curious if we'll see more franchise-specific directs. Like, we did see the Mario Kart direct, but that was more just them, like, summarizing a lot of information that they had put out in multiple sources in one place for a lot of people, which I think is probably a good thing for people who didn't... If you're someone who, like, wasn't watching all the stuff for Nintendo, I can see that being a, Alright. So we blew up we're in that elite room, and we blew up the thing, and this is the last kind of elite pirate. Phazon Elite. Elite pirate infused with energized Phazon. The Phazon charged elite pirates rely more on wave quake generators, opting not to carry the vulnerable plasma artillery cannons normally used by elites. The direct fusing of Phazon into their bodies provides a tremendous level of energy that drastically lowers their lifespan. So these guys don't have the weapon system, they're just huge. They got a little bit of armor, but you also see lots of more like Phazon bubbling out of their body. This is the only one of this guy that we're going to face. So presumably this guy maybe was like one of the initial prototypes, but they hadn't developed the ability yet to have him carry the weapons. I don't know. But 4 super missiles takes him out. And where the specimen tank was, there's now a Chozo artifact, the artifact of the warrior, 6 of the 12. Can now get out of here. Shadow pirates aren't so bad when you hit them with the plasma beam and they immediately catch fire. Pretty easy to see them. Ice pirate. So now we're in that security access area. And partial security access achieved. Force field inactive. So there's a plasma beam door down by the beginning. And there was a computer that we could have used to turn it off. First off, we didn't have the plasma beam, and second off, it was blocked by a little wall that required the power bomb. We can have the power bombs, and even if we did, we didn't have the plasma beam. So we do need one more power bomb. Cannon, freeze it, and then blast it with a super missile. And then we got wave for first down. Got the plasma beam, the flamethrower, so her beam just blows a little bit. You got the flamethrower. Powerful attack uses missiles while active. Using the plasma beam, hold the ZRA to charge, then press R to fire. It's continuous fire, just like the Wave Buster. I think it burns missiles faster than the Wave Buster, but... So we got that now, so we can head on out of this room. Somewhere else. Regular fire. Drop I needed. I had to leave and come back to let the enemies respawn, but one of them dropped a power bomb, so now I can blast this wall away. That's another missile expansion, so now I'm up to 2. So I got 5 more to get. I know where 2 of them are at. Head on out of the mines. And there's an artifact in the Chozo ruins we need to grab as well. Oh, you know what? There's more in the Vendrana region. I forgot. Yep. I know where I'm going. There's several ones that are frozen in ice. And, you got to use the plasma beam to thaw them out. There's at least 2 that way, if not 3. Alright, so we're going to go back to the Elder Hall. And then we're going to have to use we're going to have to fight the Chozo ghosts again, unfortunately. They always show up when you don't want them to be here. In the Chozo ruins. Now what we're going to do, we're going to be able to use the plasma beam to turn on the last of these 3 more false slots behind, on the upper ledge behind the statue. And this time, instead of a thing moving for a morph ball, the Elder statue just rolls forward and it reveals an ice beam door on the floor. Or a hidden chamber. Drop down. There's a little tiny room where there's an artifact. Oh, and I never got the one in the gravity chamber, so I'm actually gonna have to go back. Oh, dang it. I can't believe I got so hung up. I got distracted. So that'll slow down our playthrough a little bit. Not too much. Oh, we actually want to go back the way we came. Then through that other exit. The hidden exit behind the save point. For an artifact, we may as well just get everything. Talon Overworld. And after we get the stuff in the Talon Overworld, that'll be it for this video. And we'll wrap up the last artifact. In the last 3 missile expansions and the last power bomb expansion in the next video. Through this little tunnel, which will take us to a hidden door, which then takes us to an elevator that goes back to the Talon Overworld. And we're going to go back to that root cave. But we're going to climb up to the top because we now have the equipment to get up there. We'll go through this little tunnel that takes us back to the frigate crash site. Poisonous grass or back to the landing site for Samus' ship. Having all these upgrades that lets us move faster, like the space upgrades, just really makes navigating back to all these areas you've already been before so much quicker. Able to just double jump over obstacles and things like that. So I get into the root cave where I came up to, like the midway. If you look at the map, there's actually a plasma beam door at the top, but we can't get up there. We couldn't get up there before, even if we wanted to, because we didn't have the grapple beam. Because you gotta use the grapple beam to go across. We were able to do that, so now we're gonna climb up, hop up these platforms here. But then there's invisible platforms that we need to do. So like, you really need to use basically everything to get up here. Farther down than where I came in from. Power bomb. Oh. Just good to restock your stuff. Got a stray visor. Hop across these platforms. We're heading up this circular. Then you see like there's a hidden missile expansion actually like over to the side. If you turn off the X-ray visor, there's just like grass in the way. Then we hop across the way again. Now we're at the top. There's a plasma beam, and then the arbor chamber is up at the top, and it's just like a smaller room. Get a missile expansion. And now we're gonna head back to Samus' ship, and then we're gonna save. We got 3 more missile expansions, 1 more power bomb expansion, and the artifact to find. They're all in the Findrana region. Most of them are pretty close together. One of them is in the gravity chamber, all the way at the far end. That's my bad. I went down there looking for that, and I got distracted with other stuff and forgot. So we're almost to the end. 1 or 2 more videos for this game. And then, I shouldn't really feel like I've got my groove back. So, I'll finish my 4. I'll be in rotation or something like this. It's not as complicated. As we await the June Nintendo Direct. Thank you for joining us. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment, and we'll be back with more Metroid Prime as we wrap up this game. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and see you in the next video.